author of the Hollow Man series, and Frank Fiore, host of Fridays with Frank. Frank, this time, like we're talking Leah Rossi on a Wednesday on for Fridays with Frank. This is a Fridays with Frank that it's Friday.
That's cool.
So
So
thanks,
Leroy,
Frank. Yep.
communications, boy, do we need a lot of good, do we need
Yes. So, and but
communications
Leroy
today?
can also teach us the English language better. Straight from the UK, Leroy Roberts, speaker, leadership coach. Leroy, kind of tell us your story and why you're out there, and why did you decide, on a Friday at like five o'clock your time, where you should be out. You're out on a podcast in the United States. Tell us specifically your story.
No, thank you so much, Neil, and thank you, Paul and Frank. So my story, it's a long one, but I can make it quite short. And the beautiful thing is, I've spent the past almost 2 decades working with teams from in the Caribbean here. That's where I started, and now in the UK. And I am very passionate about leading teams and teaching people how to do that and just to help people to uncover their true value. And that's one of the reasons why I stayed on to have that conversation to help people to recognize that they have a lot to contribute, and most people just don't know how to make the impact. And that's what I'm so passionate about.
All right, awesome. Frank, do you have a question for Leroy?
Good question. Exactly. I mean, communications, that's, a very broad subject. What do you specialize in the team? You have so that they communicate with each other properly? Is that the idea? Or for them to see their uh what previous belief and how that belief system is put into the communications? I'm just trying to see how do you dissect that kind of a situation when you're doing these team things.
No, that's a perfect question, Frank. And you're right, communication cannot be ruled out, and that is key. And I think one of the things that I deal with a lot in communication is just to help team leaders how to be absolutely clear. I think most of the time they are trapped in their own heads. They know what the vision is, they know what they want to achieve, but they have severe difficulty communicating that in an understandable way. I think most of the times, myself included, and most people will are guilty of this as well. Because we know it, we think if we say it, people automatically get it, but it doesn't work like that. And you have to be able to understand what it's like on the receiving end of your communication, and just to ensure that you are actually getting through to them.
You can offend people, and
Of
especially
course.
in the work level, and everyone trying to take their responsibility, especially if you are not in person in the office. There could be things misconstrued really quickly, especially if you're working like at your home in your home, and you have somebody who's your supervisor that's totally not right next to you. And that since COVID, that's been the biggest challenge, right? For that supervisor to have that care. I believe in working with anyone. And when I am treated like an employee as a client, where my clients treat me like an employee, that's the wrong thing. Yes, giving directions, telling them, hey, this is what I want done and this is what I'd like to do, but not treating it like the old days, like we're going to just be a grim and say you better get this done or else, or I'm upset with you, kind of like you're trying to be this dictator in so ways. That doesn't fly anymore, to treat someone like an employee, does it? To keep people happy.
You're perfectly right, Neil, and I'm happy to just to chime in on that. And I think you have done a brilliant job in explaining that. And I think the way going forward now, we are no longer in the age of the employee. I think we are in the age of partnership. And if you're going to excel well at any partnership of any kind, your ability to form and maintain quality relationship is key. And that also means we have to get our communication right. And that also entails that when we communicate, you should ensure that the person on the other side feels like they are a partner and not somebody to be pushed around.
Wow. Okay. And that, because again, if you're working with somebody, if they don't have a goal to get further up in the company and they don't see those specific nuances, they're going to not work hard for you. they're not going to perform for you. And that means it goes back into the hiring process and see, where does that person see themselves in that company? And where do you see your company growing with that individual? Do you have a plan once they get through that process that they're going to be here long term? We could see them move up that corporate ladder, which has changed. There's not really a corporate ladder. But for solopreneurs who are trying to build a business with a few VAs to a larger organization that's trying to scale to another office or another place, you have to have that relationship, right?
No, you're perfectly right. And I'm happy you're touching some beautiful points here. And you see, whilst it is true that not everybody want to accelerate to the top, but one of the things I think we can all agree on is that everybody wants to be successful. Everybody want to succeed. And for different people, that might mean different things. But I think once you can help people to win, and I think most people have gotten to a place where they have just accept their lot in life. And I think if you really want to really see the best out of people is not only how you can use them, but rather how you can help them to be useful. And that means helping them to recognize how valuable they are and your willingness to invest in them and to help them to rally around a cause which they are willing to, put some skin in the game for.
Yes. Paul, what question you have for Leroy?
I'm not really sure it's a question, but I agree with everything you're saying, Leroy. Okay, there are different kinds of employees, right, to manage and actually to associate within a group. If you're on a specific project or something, each person in the group needs to know what their goal is in that group, right? Regardless of where they're going or what they're doing outside of that, but they have to know what their specific role is, and I think that helps with the relationship. Really basically back and forth between employer and employee kind of thing. So that's just been my experience with IBM. I found it more it's more effective to have smaller groups with each person knowing specifically having a specific job within that group, so that then you don't have to worry about no one else has to worry about doing that particular work because they've got their own jobs to do kind of thing. But whereas now I think probably in a lot of retail areas, everyone at a certain level has the same job, sort of thing. So it's a kind of interesting, and you have a very tough job there, my friend, to get to get all those pieces to fit together.
No, you're perfectly right. And at the heart of that, if you don't mind me responding to that, and I said that's a great point you make, Paul. And this is what I've come to recognize. At the heart of everything, we have to recognize that everyone has something to contribute, and people need to know clearly what their strengths are. And once I think people can identify what their strengths are, the job of any leader is to best align people so that they can be most impactful. And once people know that they are contributing and their contribution is welcome and valued, then that will help to solve some of the issues. I think the most challenging thing I've seen from my experience is the fact that most people are misaligned and they are being misused pretty much. And that's why you have the confusion and people are frustrated because there's no clarity around what they do.
All right. So, what, Leroy, do you want people to do? What do you want my listeners and viewers to do to take action to contact you?
Yes, so in terms of contacting me, as you can see on the screen here, I have a QR code that you can connect with me that way. An easier way you can connect with me is at my name, Leroy Roberts, on LinkedIn, and you can follow me from there. Also, I should point out that with the QR code and screen, there is also a 10-step checklist where I share a free resource as to help leaders how to best fix the team disconnection issues they might be having within their teams.
Well, we appreciate it, Leroy. And so you work all over the world then with teams.
Yes,
Oh,
I
that's
do.
fantastic. Well, it's great you came on the podcast. Great information. I look forward to having another call with you. Uh, Check out Leroy, and I appreciate it, sir.
No, thank you so much, Neil, Paul, and Frank. It was
All
great
right.
talking.